you doing? Charlie Winters here with selections for Saturday, the 23rd of July. But first, a quick recap. Well, there hasn't been any bets, so with how bad I was giving the selection, with how bad the selections were running, I may have saved you a few quid, but I'm sure you've had a bet anyway. So if you've had a few winners in the last few days, feel free to let me know. But hopefully everything's sorted now. I'm back as normal. However, no selections for Sunday, but let's get stuck into Saturdays. Well, I'm not quite sure how they're going to be listed in my Sky Bet account because this is a very quick video outlining why I'm not going to go into detail about why I fancy the horses, but I am going to mention why I fancy the horses. So let's get into it. It's enough waffling already. So, the first bet is a 31. Bear in mind, I think I placed about £44 in my account. So I pretty much spent every penny. I think there's about 26p left. So the first bet is a 31 pence each way, lucky 15, totaling £9.30, and the selections are as follows. What you'll find is my main bet is a lucky 63, and then I've really narrowed it down into the 4 horses that I fancy. But when it comes to lucky 63, I couldn't leave those 2 horses out, so I had to have originally the lucky 63. So here's lucky 15 first. So it's a 31 pence each way, lucky 15. The first selection is Virgo at 11 to 1 in the 1 o'clock at Newcastle, paying 4 places instead of 3. Right, give me 1 second. Sorry, I'm a bit disorganised for this video. It's been a while. I do believe this is the horse ridden by Oisin McSweeney. Yeah, that's right. So Oisin McSweeney is this video isn't really going that well. I'm not starting again. Oisin McSweeney is a jockey I think that's really going places. He's still claiming 3, but I've watched him in a number of races where basically he's outridden a lot of the other apprentice jockeys. Well, I think he's got a cracking rider in Virgo, and I think he's got a cracking chance. So the second selection is Thea at 13 to 2 in the 1:35 at Newcastle, paying 4 places instead of 3. This is the Michael Harrington horse that loves the all-weather. It's a top horse in handicap, so clearly it's the best horse in the race. Tom East takes a ride. He rides it virtually all the time anyway. Michael Harrington, he had a winner at York Knox-Lomback, and also had a winner at Newcastle. It does like a winner at Newcastle. And I think this Thea, I think it's head and shoulders above the rest of it. I think it's got a cracking chance of coming in the first 4. 13 to 2 is an okay price to take. Bearing in mind, a lot of these prices may well increase, but I feel we must take the price to give us a chance of a cash out should we have the opportunity to. The third selection, and as you'll see later on, is in the 205 at York, paying 6 places instead of 4. The selection is the Greatest Showman at 25 to 1. But there are 3 horses in the race that I fancy that I just couldn't choose between them. But I've narrowed it down to this one. But as you'll see in a later bet, I've included them in doubles. The Greatest Showman has been running good races in even better races. It's ran twice at Epsom this year in a couple of dashes, shown plenty of speed, but also shown the capability of coming from behind. This one is, I believe, a jump jockey race. And just casting my mind back, I did look at quite a few, but I think this one's ridden by... I tell you what, I'm just going to go into the race. You know, when you go into races in detail and you pick that many horses, all the horses are just muddling yourself up why you've actually picked them. So it is ridden by Jack Quinlan. Jack Quinlan does ride for Amy Murphy as well. Jack Quinlan rides over the jumps for Amy Murphy. So I think it's got a great chance, and it is one of many that did run in the race last year. So the final selection in a very waffling lucky 15 that I've been talking about for ages already is Accidental Agent at 18 to 1 in the 3 o'clock at Ascot, paying 7 places instead of 4. Eve Johnson-Houghton has got 2 in this race. She's also got Jumbin. I think that horse is better over 6 furlongs. This horse is by far the best horse in the race. I think it's a bit quirky because it went through a stage of not actually really coming out of the stalls, but it's well past that now. And I think it's pretty much consistently running the best it's ever ran. I think it's a genuine 7 furlong horse, maybe touching a miler, but I think it's better over 7 furlongs. I do think it'll be up there, and it's a bit of a funny race, really. There's a few question marks over some of the other horses because a lot of them have actually been running at Ascot on a regular basis, including this horse, to be fair. But I do think it's head and shoulders above these. I just hope it's obviously if it doesn't run its race. It could be a long way behind because obviously having to shoulder top weight, it's really got to be in peak form. So that's the 18 to 1 chances. I think it's got a great chance tomorrow. So moving on now to the lucky 63, like the main bet. So 14 pence each way, lucky 63. The first selection is Virgo at 11 to 1 in the 1 o'clock at Newcastle. The second selection is Thea at 13 to 2 in the 1:35 at Newcastle. The third selection is The Greatest Showman at 25 to 1 in the 2:05 at York. The fourth selection is Venturous at 9 to 1 in the 2:40 at York. The fifth selection is Accidental Agent at 18 to 1 in the 3 o'clock at Ascot. And the final selection is in the 3 race. Is in the 3 minutes past 5 race. Is Lion Face at 13 to 2, paying 4 places instead of 3. That's the main bet. And as I said before, I've then narrowed that down into the first bet, which is a lucky 15. And then what I've done, I also fancy 3 horses in 2 different races. So what I've also done is I've had a combination forecast and a combination tricast. So in the 2 race at York, the 3 selections are Primo's Comet, Ginger Jam, what I tip quite regularly, and also The Greatest Showman. And that's a 25p combination forecast, totaling £1.50 in total. I have then had it's a 25 pence reverse tricast. It's then a 40 pence combination forecast, the same horses. Apologies for that. And then, as I mentioned before, I fancy 3 horses twice. So what I've done, I've doubled them up. So I've gone for Primo's Comet, Ginger Jam, and The Greatest Showman in 50 pence each way doubles with horses in the 3 o'clock at Ascot. And those are Tactical in the 3 o'clock, Star of Orion at 14 to 1, and Accidental Agent. So basically, in the 2 race at York, if either Primo's Comet, Ginger Jam, The Greatest Showman either win or come placed, any money from that bet will then roll on to runners in the 3 o'clock, which are Tactical, Star of Orion, and Accidental Agent. This might sound very confusing, but it's not as confusing as you might think. The next bet is the same 3 horses in that race in the 3 o'clock at Ascot in a 40 pence combination forecast, Tactical, Star of Orion, Accidental Agent, and then a 25 pence reverse tricast, Tactical, Star of Orion, and Accidental Agent. And that is all the bets for Saturday. So I'm sorry I've made it very confusing. I haven't explained it very well at all, but if you start the video again, slow it down if you need to. Even if I would recommend you putting the bets on, but if you can't afford it, put them on to much smaller stakes. if you don't fancy the horse, but I would hate to see a bet coming up and you're not being involved. So if you can't afford it, don't get me wrong, don't put the bet on. But if you can afford to put the bet on, but reduce the stakes right down, I'm recommending that. So anyway, those are my bets. As you can see, I've put them on. So the very best of luck. I'll be rooting for them. If one wins, let me know in the comments. Have you cashed out early, or maybe a couple might win and you take a profit? Maybe you all ran absolute stinkers and have a good moan to me in the comments. I don't mind. Anyway, the very best of luck. Charlie Winters. Everything's crossed. Over and out. Cheers, mate.